The Van Gogh Museum, Amsterdam. Dead quiet. Two figures. A ladder, a sledgehammer. Glass shatters. They're inside. 4 minutes. That's all they need. 4 minutes to pull two paintings off the wall. Paintings that have survived over a century and disappear into the dark. View of the sea at Scheveningen. Congregation leaving the Reformed Church in Nuenen. By Vincent van Gogh himself. Worth tens of millions. Gone. The police search. Interpol searches. The art world holds its breath. Nothing. But here's the thing. Those paintings exist. They're hanging on a wall somewhere. Not a museum, not a gallery, not a vault. A farmhouse bathroom, southern Italy, hidden behind a wall, wrapped in cotton, tucked inside a box like they were nothing. And the man who owns them, he's not in Italy, he's in Dubai, living in a luxury villa. Italian police know him as one of the most wanted fugitives in the country. The Camorra knows him as a boss. The drug world knows him as the man who built a $1.5 billion cocaine empire from nothing. But the art world? The art world calls him something else. The Van Gogh boss. Hey, John here, the voice beyond Mr. Scenario. Quick simple request. Comment a topic you want me to cover next. Sometimes the craziest ideas usually get picked. And if I make video on it, I'll feature your comment in the intro and pinned it in comments. Okay, let's go back to our kingpin. The story begins in the 1990s. Amsterdam, the cannabis capital of Europe. Where coffee shops sell marijuana legally, where tourists come to get high, where criminals come to get rich. Raffaele Imperiale arrives from Castellammare di Stabia, a seaside town near Naples. He's young, ambitious, connected to the Camorra, the Neapolitan mafia. His father is a wealthy construction contractor back home. But Raffaele wants more than construction contracts. In 1996, he takes over one of Amsterdam's coffee shops. It's legitimate on paper, but it's also the perfect cover. Cannabis sales on the front end, cocaine trafficking on the back end. Amsterdam in the 1990s is a smuggler's paradise. The port handles millions of containers. South American cocaine flows through Rotterdam and Antwerp into Europe. And Imperiale positions himself as the middleman. The international broker connecting Italian mafia clans with Colombian cartels. By the early 2000s, he's no longer just a broker, he's a leader, running the drug operations for the Amato Pagano clan of the Camorra, coordinating shipments, laundering money, building an empire. And then, in 2002, something happens that will define his legend. October 7th, 2002. The Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. Two thieves break in using a ladder and a sledgehammer. 4 minutes later, they're gone with two paintings. View of the sea at Scheveningen from 1882. Congregation leaving the Reformed Church in Nuenen from 1884. Together, they're worth over 20 million euros. The heist makes international headlines. Interpol issues alerts. Museums worldwide tighten security. But the paintings vanish completely, and within days, Raffaele Imperiale acquires them, just blocks from where he operates his coffee shop. He claims he bought them directly from the thieves. Years later, when questioned, he'll say, "The price was attractive, but most of all because I love art." He'll claim his father took him to museums as a child, instilled in him an appreciation for beauty. But prosecutors see it differently. They see a mobster using stolen masterpieces as collateral, as leverage, as insurance. In the criminal underworld, art is currency, untraceable, valuable, portable. For the next 14 years, those paintings remain hidden, and Imperiale's empire grows. By the mid-2000s, Imperiale isn't working alone. He's part of what US Drug Enforcement Administration agents call the super cartel. 4 leaders, 4 different organizations, one massive cocaine operation. Raffaele Imperiale from Italy, Ridouan Taghi, a Dutch-Moroccan kingpin, Daniel Kinahan, the Irish gang boss, Edin Gakanin, a Bosnian trafficker. Together, they control a third of Europe's cocaine trade. Virtual monopoly on Peruvian cocaine, billions in annual revenue. They meet in Dubai, at the Burj Al Arab Hotel, one of the world's most luxurious. In 2017, they're all photographed together at Daniel Kinahan's wedding, smiling, celebrating, untouchable. Dubai becomes Imperiale's base. He's living under the alias Antonio Rocco. Luxury villa, swimming pool, supercars. He's a shareholder in a real estate development company, building luxury properties, laundering drug money through legitimate businesses. He even buys an island. Not just any island, an artificial island in the world, a cluster of man-made islands shaped like a map of the globe off Dubai's coast. He names it Taiwan, pays 12 million euros for it, plans to develop luxury villas. Italian court documents later reveal he's spending 3.2 million euros in just 3 months on personal expenses, 400,000 euros per month to maintain his lifestyle. But back in Italy, things are unraveling.
September 2016. Italian police raid a farmhouse in Castellammare di Stabia, Imperiale's hometown, his parents' property. They're looking for evidence of drug trafficking. Instead, they find something priceless. Hidden in a wall cavity next to the kitchen, 2 unframed paintings wrapped in cotton, the stolen Van Goghs, 14 years after they vanished. One painting, Congregation Leaving the Reformed Church, is in reasonable condition. The other, View of the Sea at Scheveningen, has damage in the lower left corner, but they're intact, recoverable. Italian authorities value them at 20 million euros. They also seize 40 houses in Spain that Imperiale bought with drug money. An arrest warrant is issued in January 2016. Raffaele Imperiale is now officially one of Italy's most wanted. But he's already gone, fled to Dubai, living openly, brazenly. In early 2021, he even gives an interview to Naples newspaper Il Mattino, admits to owning the paintings, denies stealing them, says he bought them for their aesthetic value. No remorse, no fear. For years, it seems like he's beyond the law. Dubai doesn't extradite easily, but then everything changes. In 2021, a new extradition treaty between Italy and the UAE comes into force, and suddenly Imperiale is vulnerable. Dubai police conduct surveillance, over 300,000 security cameras, artificial intelligence tracking, 1 week of monitoring, and on July 30th, 2021, they move. They raid his villa. He's arrested, using a false passport under the name Antonio Rocco. They seize cash, luxury cars, artwork. 2 weeks later, they arrest his right-hand man, Raffaele Mauriello. Imperiale is held in the UAE. Italian authorities complete extradition paperwork. In March 2022, he's deported to Italy. The Van Gogh boss is coming home. He's facing serious time: drug trafficking, money laundering, mafia association. Prosecutors want 14 years, 10 months, and Imperiale knows it. In December 2022, Imperiale makes a decision that shocks the Italian underworld. He becomes a pentito, a cooperating witness, breaking the Camorra's code of omerta. Silence. He says he's doing it to set an example for my children. He starts talking. 4 extensive statements to prosecutors. Details about the super cartel. How they coordinated cocaine shipments using encrypted phones. How they moved tons of cocaine from South America to Europe. How they laundered money through Dubai real estate. His testimony helps take down major cocaine operations in Northern Europe, leads to seizures, arrests. He hands over 1.8 million euros in cryptocurrency. Information that implicates his former partners, Taghi, Kinahan, Gakanin. In March 2023, police search his house and find over 80 weapons hidden under the garage floor. 3 Kalashnikov rifles, a grenade, 5,000 rounds of ammunition. And then, in November 2023, comes the most unusual offer. In a Naples courtroom, Imperiale's lawyers hand over documents from a Dubai-registered company, offering to transfer ownership of his island, the artificial island Taiwan, to Italian authorities. The prosecution values it at 60 to 80 million euros. Imperiale bought it for 12 million 7 years earlier. Now he's giving it up, hoping for a reduced sentence. Prosecutor Maurizio De Marco is skeptical. It is clear that Imperiale wants sentence reductions, he says. But acquiring a Dubai island isn't simple. Legal complications, jurisdictional issues. In June 2024, Naples judge Maria Luisa Miranda orders the island seized. It's now property of the Italian state. And in July 2024, the final verdict. Raffaele Imperiale is sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in prison. Not 14 years. His cooperation helped, but not enough. Today, Raffaele Imperiale sits in an Italian prison. The super cartel has collapsed. Ridouan Taghi is in a Dutch prison. Daniel Kinahan is still at large with a $5 million US bounty on his head. Edin Gakanin was released from Dubai custody. The Van Gogh paintings returned to the museum in 2019 after restoration. They are back on display where they belong. The Dubai island? Technically Italian property, though selling it will be complicated. The weapons? Seized. The cryptocurrency? Confiscated. The super cartel's cocaine network? Dismantled. Raffaele Imperiale built an empire on cocaine and art. He lived like a king in Dubai, spent millions, owned an island, collected masterpieces, and when it all came crashing down, he tried to buy his freedom with the very treasures he'd stolen.
But prosecutors see something else. A man who laundered billions,
Who moved tons of cocaine, who armed himself with assault rifles and grenades, who lived in luxury while his drugs destroyed lives across Europe. A man who, when finally caught, offered everything he had: paintings, islands, information, weapons, cryptocurrency, anything to reduce his sentence. It worked. A little.